Well, good evening, folks. Welcome to a Thursday night edition of the Orange and Blue Blood Show. I'm Buddy Martin. Standing by in the wings, a whole galaxy of stars. First, the head ball coach will join us today to tell us about tonight, tell us about his experience in New York at the Heisman Trophy presentation. Then he'll tell you about his thoughts on Urban Meyer's comments regarding Florida football. Ben Troupe is here. That means we got his sermon tonight, as always. Also, we'll have a late report on basketball from Franz. Florida leading East Carolina 64-61 with about 5 minutes to go. And Loren Meadows will be here, the coach. All coming your way right here tonight. Tell your friends and neighbors the Buddy Martin Show is on the air.
Time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Welcome, folks. Getting near the end of the week. That means we're headed out to our new location, our mobile studio. Next week, we'll be broadcasting from Studio 12 West. We'll tell you about that next week. Got lots of plans for the future. Very happy you've been with us tonight. And, of course, follow us all year long. A tremendous following has developed on this program. Thanks to Brendan Martin. And thanks to you folks out there in the last 3 months. We've had some record numbers, and we're very happy about that. We're happy you like it and happy you're watching it. So we'll take you through tonight. In just a moment, we'll have Coach Steve Spurrier. Interesting comments today about what he thought of Urban Meyer's comments regarding Florida football. That and his stories about visiting with the Heisman Trophy folks up in New York, where he had a loud blue jacket, louder than this right here, jacket. Looked good. I liked it a lot. Coach Spurrier will tell us his thoughts about the way directions are going at Florida. You can hear it underneath his breath without saying he's not happy, just like all Gators. But, hey, like he said, this is the ones we got. This is our team. So, anyway, that's what's going on there. So, say good evening to Robert Turner and the Van Dur and Lanny Thompson on early. Thanks, folks, for being there. I'm going to go ahead and do this quick commercial, and then we're going to hear from the head ball coach. You won't want to miss this interview. He has a lot to say about it. So stand by. After this timeout, we'll talk to Coach Spurrier next. First, this message from Meldon Law. Jeffrey, look forward to a great 2024 and being together with you and your wife to celebrate some special occasions.
Yeah, and Buddy, I want to tell our Gator fans out there that Todd Golden is the real deal. Okay. In 1 year, he's put together this really tall team that's going to out-rebound just about everybody that they play. They've got some great shooters. We got 3 or 4, guards in there that are awesome.
Yep.
And I predict that the Gators are going to be a ranked team by the end of the season, and that you wait and see. They're going to make some noise around March Madness.
Sounds exciting. You'll be right there to report from courtside. Give us the inside scoop, Jeffrey.
Yeah, and January 6th is Meldon Law Day. We're playing Kentucky at the O-Dome. It's Meldon Law Day. We've got special shirts for everybody.
Giving stuff away again like you do all over the place. You're giving stuff away.
But it's going to be it's Kentucky, buddy. What do you got to say?
What are you going to do? Be a big night.
The home game against Kentucky is always the big game of the year.
Maybe I'll come sit with you tonight. So,
okay, January 6th, buddy.
All right, Jeffrey, have a happy holiday season. The best to you. And don't forget, Meldon Law, they do not back down. And they wish you a happy holiday season.
Yeah, happy holidays to everybody.
Well, he's back from New York, blue blazer and all, standing out there among all those Heisman Trophy winners. Coach Steve Spurrier joins your program again this morning. Coach, you look good up there in New York with that bright blue blazer.
Yeah, I guess I was watching sort of a replay of all of us standing up there, and nobody else had on anything but sort of gray and black, I guess. So, but anyway, that's sort of that new blue color that sort of goes with Duke, goes with Florida, and the blue schools out there, I guess. But anyway, I got a few comments on it.
I bet you did. Look good. You've always been that person who stands out. You see him. You do it different.
Not usually.
Well, you've had the visor.
Well, yeah, there's I used to always think, somebody once said to be successful in life, you can do it like everybody else does it and try to outwork them, or you can do it differently. Yeah. So if there's a little different way to do it and be successful, I thought that was smart to try it that way.
Well, I'm looking at a picture of you with a book behind you that you wrote, and that's what you said in the book. You can
do it a little differently. Yeah, obviously back in '90, that was only 33 years ago when I was hired down here. Yeah, we did things a little differently and started throwing the ball around, but really we played super defense and ran the ball extremely well. Eric Redd's the leading rusher in school history. And so we mixed it in there. We weren't just all throwing it all over the ballpark. So anyway, we mixed it up and had really good players. So hopefully some of those records, our school will come back to, matching them. But looks like we're a few years away right now.
Well, that brings me to the next segment I want to talk about. And by the way, I don't think Eric Redd ever gets the credit he deserves for what he did.
Yeah.
Talk about him, because I remember you had a formula almost where you try to get up a couple of touchdowns the first half and run the ball. I can see Eric running that draw play, the second half. Very effective runner. Gosh, what he had 2 years, 1,000 yards, I believe. Maybe 3, I don't remember. But, boy, he never gets mentioned among the great running backs in Florida. I think he's a Hall of Fame guy, in terms of Florida.
I do, too. Yeah, I've tried to mention him. He needs to be in, the statue out there. I said, he's the leading rusher in school history. Mm-hmm. And he was a 4-year starter. That helps when you get to play 4 years. Yep. Most of these running backs nowadays play 1 or 2 and transfer or go somewhere else or whatever. Yeah. But he was, I think he was healthy all 4 years, but he could make those first downs on the 3rd and 2s and all that kind of stuff very well.
Coach, let's talk about New York for a second. I'm going to get back to the subject you mentioned about the winning record in Florida. You had a chance, I think, to meet Jaden Daniels. You say looked like a basketball player. You talked to several players about the money thing, although it's probably private information. But share with us what you, first of all, thought about Jaden Daniels, and secondly, talk about some of the money conversation.
Yeah, Jaden, I just say he's sort of built like a basketball player. There's very little body fat on that young man. But obviously he knows how to dodge guys, and excellent runner with the ball as well as a beautiful passer. He is really talented. And I think most people around the country felt like he was going to win the Heisman because of the numbers he put up. Mm-hmm. Somebody said we really helped his Heisman push the numbers. I think he would have got over 600 yards against us running and passing, some kind of record. But he did that against just about everybody. And, of course, the other players there had super years also. Bo Nix going from Auburn up to Oregon. And, of course, Marvin Harrison Jr., best wide receiver maybe in the country. And then Michael Penix. He's from, Dade City. I think he went to high school, one of those schools in Tampa, private school somewhere, I think. But anyway, he's had an amazing year, and his team could still win the national championship.
Yeah, true. So you said you like Jaden Daniels, nice young man?
Oh, yeah, they all are. They all are, and they're all dedicated, committed to being the best they can be. The training these guys do nowadays is way more than we did back in the 60s and 70s, it seems like. Yeah. But they've got dedication, commitment, and because I think they all realize there's a lot of money that they can earn as they go through football, pro football in college, and then pro football after college.
Good way to put it, for sure. Amazing, some of the numbers you hear. You want to share anybody's conversation about money some of the figures being thrown around. You talked to a couple of guys about that, and I think they told you underestimated the amount of money they were making in general.
Yeah, and nobody knows exactly how much they're giving these guys. Well, I guess a lot of people do know, but they don't put it in the papers or anything, how much they get paid to play. But a great quarterback making $1 million is fairly common. I think I've learned over the country. And then some of the other really top players, anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000 they get for a year. I'm talking about 1 year pay. So I don't know if we are giving that kind of money out. Maybe we are. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, I think quarterback position is going to be
But,
close.
you know, it's still a team sport.
Yeah,
it is a team sport. The NFL, they have a salary cap. Okay, so obviously the quarterback makes most of it. But then they try to balance it out. If we could have some kind of salary cap for every team, I think it'd make it a little bit more fair. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
How tough would it be for you if you were coaching today to deal with all that?
Well, you wouldn't like it, but obviously the coaches make a whole bunch of money also. If these coaches are making between $6 and $9 million a year, 10, whatever, then obviously the players should get a chunk also. You know, I tried to get it going a little bit there back in about 2013, I think it was. I went to SEC meetings and I said, let's give every player that suits up $300 a game. And they said, oh, no, that'll never happen. I remember our commissioner saying that'll never happen. And that was, you know, to pay for maybe dinner after the game with his girlfriend or his parents or whoever, and help pay their travel. But we waited, and then everybody started filing the lawsuits, you know, to free up the players to make whatever they can. And the government passed it. It's free. You can pay them whatever you want to now.
Well, and you threw your wallet up on the table and told people on the coaches and Destin that let's play the players and let me know how you feel about it. And the ones who don't want to, I'm going to release your names, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, one of the coaches, well, I don't know about that. I don't want to get in trouble with my AD or something. So the next year he came back and he said, yeah, one of my players said, Coach, how come you didn't vote to get us $300 a game? And he hauled around, well, I didn't know, blah, blah, blah. He said, but I'm voting for it this year. So we got everybody to vote for it the second year.
Yeah, well, you were a player coach a long time before. Let's go back to something you said earlier. You know, it's no secret, obviously, the great days at Florida were really defined by you and Urban Meyer. All the wins mostly came those 18 years. It's been a hard thing to get it back going. Do you think about this, Coach? This is kind of bizarre, if not frightening. I think Billy Napier is 11-14, okay? You wouldn't have lasted after 2 years of that, Florida. You've been fired. You didn't have a buyout, as far as I know. Look at these numbers. 11-14. He has a brutal schedule in 2024. Have you seen that schedule? I mean, it's one of the hardest I've ever seen.
Yeah, I did. I just looked at that the other day. Our 4 out-of-conference games, FSU, UCF, and Miami. 3 Power 5 in-state schools, and I think we got Sanford or something.
Sanford, yes.
And then the 8 conference games.
Yeah,
it's a brutal schedule. It's a winning record would be very good for the Gators next year.
And if it's not, listen to this, if he has a losing season, think about this. The University of Florida Fighting Gators would have 4 consecutive losing seasons. Can you believe that?
I guess we have to believe it right now because that has to be a possibility right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about, I know, you were obviously a great player, Heisman Trophy winner, and you started the trend back winning again. You brought the first championships to Florida. I know you take a great pride in your university. You're the ambassador. Does that make you cringe to think about that 4 consecutive losing seasons?
Well, yeah, I guess so, but it's not. I guess it's not unusual that much all around the South here and so forth. But yeah, we used to be up there, in the 90s. Nebraska was the winningest college team in the country, 90 through 99, I think I saw. And second was FSU. They've ran back, obviously, now. And then I think we were third. And then Miami and Tennessee was in there. So Miami is falling out just like Nebraska a bit. But Nebraska, I guess, is the one that's really had some issues. They've gone like 7 or 8 years without a winning season. So that's a program that, they got tradition. They sell out their stadium every game, and they are really struggling also. So hopefully we can get it turned around. Yeah. And I know our coaches are working hard. Yeah, Billy Napier, he works hard. He does everything he thinks he needs to do. And we'll see how it plays out. But what's happened now also, buddy, is all the coaches all over the country, they don't come in like Urban and I came in. We came in, if we didn't win, our butts were probably fired after 2 or 3 years of not having wins. But all the coaches now get guaranteed contracts, 7 or 8 years, so forth. I know the Nebraska guy, he's got a 8 or 9 year. I don't know, he's got it, but everybody's got guaranteed contracts. So I know Urban said there's pressure on everybody to win. There's pressure on a junior high basketball game to win. But most all the coaches around the country have guaranteed contracts, as you know.
Coach Steve Spurrier, I want to get to Urban here. He made some statements to us a couple of weeks ago, and I guess maybe they've kind of hit the media now, the print media. And he talked about, what it was like for coaches in Florida and about the fans. I asked him about, about the rough treatment the coaches get from the fans and how much pressure is on him. I asked him about Billy Napier. His quote was, he said, was there pressure? He says, hell yes, there is, but that comes with the job. I would not panic if I'm the coaching staff right now. Not panic. He says, however, first of all, Florida fans have a right to be upset. They're fans. Florida is an elite place. Ohio State fans are really upset. They're 11-1. Yeah, Florida State fans are losing their mind because they're not in the playoffs. That's what makes this great. Your reaction to those quotes?
Yeah, I saw that. I think David Whitley wrote it in his column here the other day. That's a fact all over the country. There's pressure on the coaches to win, and then if they don't win, they get their buyout money, and you hire another coach. I guess is the way it happens just about all over the country now. But hopefully we can get it going. I tell you what, the crowds we had for the Tennessee and FSU game this past year were really awesome. We were loud. We did our part. And in fact, I think our crowd played a big part in beating Tennessee that night. And we played pretty well, obviously, also. And had a chance to beat FSU. We just didn't do it.
Yeah. Here's the final one from Urban. I want to get your reaction. And by the way, that interview, which I did, he wasn't being hypercritical of Napier. He was just stating it like it was. And the quote was, I keep hearing about the process, the plan he has, Meyer said. It's got to at some point get going. But I would not panic if I were him. Just keep grinding. Just keep your head down and do the very best you can. So, the process, but you got to have some results to show.
Yeah, certainly so. And, of course, there's examples of coaches struggling early, like Mike Norvell there at FSU, and then turning it around. So it can be turned around. We know that. And I guess we're all hoping real soon. But like you said, looking at that schedule next year, we need an influx of players and leadership and whatever to get it turned around.
Yeah. Coach Steve Spurrier, who set the winning trend at Florida as a player and also a coach. And Coach, final comment, if you were getting up in front of a bunch of Gator boosters right now, and they want you to give them a couple of sentences on the state of Florida football right now, what would you say?
Well, I would say I don't know. I don't know the state right now. We're in off season, and we'll see if this recruiting class holds up. I think signing day is about a week or so from now, isn't it?
Next Wednesday,
December, is it 20 or 21 or 2, something like that?
Day, but it's next Wednesday,
And I think we're right now number 6. Somebody said. So if we can hold on to that recruiting class, that's encouraging. Yeah. And then, of course, the transfer portal, we'll pick up some guys and lose some guys, just like every school around the country. And then whatever we got to start, building a winning team, a winning football program. Simple as that. So hopefully it'll come this coming season, next year. We just got to wait and see. But I tell people we got to support our coaching staff. They're going to be there. I think our head coach has got a 7-year guaranteed deal, and maybe the assistant coaches have a few years guaranteed. I don't know. But, we got to stay behind our staff, and they're going to be here with us. And let's do the best we can and hopefully get it turned around.
Good advice there. You're Gators one way or the other if you're a Gator fan. That's what you got. So got to dig it out. Coach, final thought here. I'm really happy about this news that we're planning right now as we speak a confab or whatever summit on winning or whatever it may call it at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, which I hear is a pretty good restaurant, sometime in the week of or the month of the Orange and Blue game, where you and Coach Meyer, Urban, will join them, the group, and it will be a charity deal and some special situations which we can announce. And it's exciting to have you and Urban on the dais right there. You represent all the winning good that went on in Florida football.
Yeah, that will be hopefully an interesting conversation. You're going to be our host guy, correct?
Correct.
And one thing I remember somebody told me that one reason that Coach Urban and I won, the SECs and nationals and so forth is we hate losing more than everybody else. In fact, it would tear Urban up. In fact, he resigned here and took a year off. He only lost one game that year before, right?
Right.
SEC championship game. So, it maybe tore him up even a little bit worse than it would tear me up. But anyway, you got to hate losing, and hopefully that's where our players and coaches are right now.
Well, that's a good topic. You got to hate losing to win. There you go, right there. Hey, Steve, thanks so much. I'm glad you could join us.
Okay, it's always good to be on the Buddy Martin show again.
It's always good to have you, Coach, all these years.
All right, see you, buddy.
Coach Steve Spurrier.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, HBC in rare form today. There he is. And now it's time to bring another guy aboard who's always in rare form. I'm sure he heard part of that. He might even be fired up tonight. But then Ben Troupe's fired up most of the time. What's up, Ben? How you doing?
I'm always good, but it's always good to hear Coach Spurrier on there. I like a more cerebral, laid back Spurrier, because I think the thing is too, the one thing I appreciate about what Coach Spurrier said about Billy Napier is he understands that just because Coach Spurrier has tremendous success, he knows how much pressure it is. But he also said something that's different. He said these guys get guaranteed contracts, so it's the pressure is still there, not to make the money, but to get the wins. But Coach Spurrier, he ain't contractually obligated to say, congratulatory things or positive things about Billy Napier. But he talked about Billy Napier staying the course and working hard and the recruiting class. And you just can appreciate a guy like Coach Spurrier who, he's seen it all, done it all. Duke, Florida, South Carolina, the then Redskins at the time in the USFL. So he knows what coaches have to deal with. And I don't know if Billy Napier sat down with him, buddy, but, I just think that in today's world of highly scrutinized, high-paid, high-profile coaches, Billy Napier has the support and the backing of a Coach Spurrier. That's, to me, that's what any coach would want. You would want, the greatest coach to ever come through Florida, with Urban Meyer being right there. You want a guy like Coach Spurrier saying, look, I support you, Coach. I know I can only imagine how crazy it is now with the accessibility, scrutiny. But, buddy, as you know, when you're the head coach of Florida, right, wrong, indifferent, you gotta get it done. And that doesn't mean that you're not a good coach. It doesn't mean you ain't moving in the right direction. But like Coach Spurrier said, listen, we ain't Kentucky, man. This ain't we went back to back in basketball, but this ain't a basketball school. We great in basketball as well, but you got to get it done on Saturdays. And like I said, I was blessed enough to sit down with Graham Mertz on the recent episode of 84 Reasons. I asked Graham Mertz straight up, what is it about Billy Napier that makes you believe in him? And he said, his attention to detail, man. Like he says, when we do these plays, these things are, I mean, calculations, they're going through every single scenario. And what I appreciate about Graham was he didn't mince words. He said, Ben, it doesn't matter how good I feel going into rehab or how great I feel about this team. We are what our record says it is. It don't matter. And that's maturity. That's saying, look, it don't matter what we got coming in. It doesn't matter the momentum we built. I know Will Harris is a new DB coach. I don't know if we've got a D-line coach yet. I know we got to get one and we haven't got one. But we are what our record says we are. Doesn't mean that we don't have potential. We was in a lot of these games. As Coach Spurrier said, should have beat Florida State. Didn't do it. Right? Should have beat Missouri. Didn't do it. Had a good showing at a certain point against LSU. Kind of tailed off at the ends. You know, Arkansas. So I think for this team, I asked Graham Mertz what's going to be his, mantra for this year. He said, unfinished business, man. He said, but we hungry and we ready. But he says, Ben, until we get to go out there and prove it, it's all talk at this point. For a Billy Napier, I know that team on the Panhandle going undefeated, winning the ACC, playing Georgia in a New Year's Six Bowl doesn't help. That team down south still made a bowl game, even though they ain't been themselves for a long time. Florida got to be in the mix because in 2024, we play UCF. We play Miami. We play Florida State.
Terrible schedule. Terrible. We'll get into that in a minute.
It's rough, but buddy, it's like this. It wasn't easy for Urban Meyer when he came in Florida. It was not easy. Yeah, we look at what he did, but he developed the culture.
They didn't have any guaranteed contracts, and like Steve said, my butt would have been fired the first 2 years if I could win.
Coach Spurrier. Listen, Coach Spurrier was the one that really got the world in attention when it comes to the University of Florida. Urban Meyer was able to come behind a guy like Ron Zook, and he had some older guys that had learned how to, as they mentioned, they had learned how to win by losing under Ron Zook, who had, but I don't, and obviously a guy like Graham Mertz coming back is going to help. But buddy, at the end of the day, you got to win. You're at the University of Florida. I don't care what the circumstance is. I don't care who you run out there.
Right.
You got to win. And like I said, 2024 is going to be about as huge of a barometer as it's going to get for Billy Napier.
We'll look at that schedule in a second. By the way, this little piece of math, did you know that Billy Napier has made about $14 million or $15 million so far? Steve Spurrier over all 12 years made $11 million. So he's made more money than Steve Spurrier made his entire 12 years. It don't seem right.
I know. Listen, one of the greatest things the University of Florida ever did was pay Coach Spurrier to be an ambassador, a.k.a. to be himself. Because at the end of the day, buddy, how do you show appreciation to a guy like Coach Spurrier he's known nationwide, worldwide for what not just what he did at Florida and South Carolina, but what he means to college football.
Innovator, a guy that was always that step ahead of everybody in terms of trends.
And the fact that every single offense not named Air Force is running that spread. Coach Spurrier was a guy that said, look, man, I'm going to win my way when everybody wants to run the football, play stifling defense. So, hey, man, like I said, Coach Spurrier he's brilliant. And I think what he does the greatest now is he still lends his time. He still lends his perspective. He still lends his ear. He still gives advice because you know how it is, buddy. Coach Spurrier says, what else do you got? What else do you want me to give? I mean, when Coach Spurrier was coaching me, he didn't have grandkids yet. I'm pretty sure he got a bunch of grandkids now.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I'm just always in awe of the fact that he finds a way to bring the humanity side back to it. That's why if you want to see a master class on controlling the media, please just pop in any post game or pre-game or during the offseason press conference. Coach Spurrier, he's still a media darling. Yeah. But the only reason why he could be that is because he was and still will remain a hell of a ball coach.
Yeah, you know what? Chris Doring was on with me on Wednesday night. We were talking about Pearsall not getting his 1,000 yards. Couldn't get the ball to Pearsall for 52 yards. Shame that had to happen. I said, I know coaches get caught up in the game and get caught up in trying to win and stuff. I understand. And they forget. Chris said, I'll tell you one never forgot. Coach Spurrier never forgot. he said he would call me over and say to me, "We're going to get you a couple more here. Just hang in there. We're going to get you one here in this fourth." He made sure he got the ball to his playmakers and his people, feed those hungry boys, and he knew it was important. He knew when he needed to make a record, how to do it. And that's the kind of coaches I enjoy. They're aware of what these individual awards mean to these guys who are deserving of it. Nobody more deserving than Ricky Pearsall, who had as good a year as anybody did. He deserved to get that 1,000 yards. And it's that being that oblivious to those kind of things that concerned me about Billy's staff sometimes. That's something they should have made sure. That kid gave him everything he had, and they should have given it to him back, in my opinion, just me thinking. But here's the thing. I'm not going to be critical of Florida because, as Coach Spurrier says, we got what we got here. It's what it's going to be. It's not going to change in terms of head coaches. Billy's not going to get fired this year or next. But I'll say there are things that irritate me. And one of them is, and people say, is Billy a little too slow on the uptake? Now, I know the whole fable about the tortoise and the hare. I understand what that is about. And it is true sometimes you have to take your time. And we always call him a coach that cuts, that measures twice and cuts once. I get it. But it feels like to a lot of people that Billy didn't react fast enough on certain things. The transfer portal being one of those. So now this is the year you're going to have to react to it. Well, here's the bad news, unfortunately. Nick Delatorre had this today. Here's the portal commitments as of December 14th. In the SEC. Okay? You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss, 5. South Carolina, 5. Kentucky, 4. Oklahoma, 4. Vanderbilt, 4. Arkansas, 3. Mississippi State, 3. Missouri, 2. Texas A&M, 2. Auburn, 1. Alabama, 0. Florida, 0. That concerns me a little bit. Does it you, Ben?
Yeah, because buddy, the thing is, this time last year we were snatching Graham Mertz. Now I know he wasn't a fan favorite when we snatched him because everybody was saying, is it going to be Sam Hartman? Is it going to be coming from Wake Forest and all these guys? You at least from a perception standpoint, you got to get some because the thing about it is there is no reason why Vanderbilt should have more than Florida. There's no reason why Texas A&M should have more because I think the difference is these other schools they flexing their tradition. Come over here and play with us, and it should. And for people that say, well, a lot of times it's because you don't know who's going to be the D-line coach. Going to be that doesn't matter. That does not matter. You get a chance to come to the University of Florida. We got Ricky Pearsall out the portal, right? We got Montrell Johnson out the portal, right? So I just think that we got Torrance, the best guard in college football 2 years ago at the portal. So I think, buddy, you're right. The thing about college football, the thing about Billy Napier, he's gonna have to realize you got to win the perception game. You got to.
Exactly.
Because buddy, if you're not winning games, you got to win the perception game. And until you win, because you are two things. You are what your record says you is, and you are what the perception of you is. Because you can't control either, but you at least got to say to yourself, man, we cannot go through an entire trip. It's too many guys in the portal. You ain't getting none of them. It's too many. It is flooded with players. And Notre Dame, I think, had 14 guys hit the portal. 14. Brock Vandagriff from Georgia, I think he's going to Kentucky. He's already hit the portal in Georgia, ain't even made it to the new year because he can see what's coming. So yes, buddy, when it comes to that aspect of things, Billy Napier and staff gonna have to do a better job because it makes it look like people don't want to come here. People don't want to go to Florida. Look, ain't but one team gonna win the national championship. I don't care if you won 5 games or 10 games. You are the University of Florida. Period. And that's not going to change no matter who is the head coach. So I think for Billy, yes, that is disturbing because you ask yourself is what isn't or what is or isn't being said on the transfer portal trail or what is the what are people saying about Florida when it comes to the transfer? Because the thing about the transfer portal is you got all the leverage now. These guys are hoping to hear some Napier's caliber called him. So, yeah, it is a little bit disturbing, buddy. But once again, early signing day is coming. Hopefully, DJ Lagway is still coming. I know that Ernest Graham's son, Miles Graham, is coming. We're gonna see what
McCray, LJ McCray recommitted today. Said he was definitely committed.
Okay, so LJ McCray definitely helps. I know we got a big JUCO kid, D lineman.
Yeah, edge rusher. Yeah.
But the thing is, once again, the 2 perception games you have to win in the offseason. The first one is the portal.
Yeah,
you got to win it, and the second one is National Signing Day or early National Signing Day or whatever you want to call it. And right now, we like I said, what you say. So, being you're looking for a new team to play for, and you decide to play for Napier, you would not do it. No. Listen, man. Let me help you understand something. Listen, it just depends on what he says. Because if I am Billy Napier talking to these young men, you got to talk like you undefeated. See, well, people need to get past this. People need to get past this. Oh, guys jumping to the portal because they losing. They wasn't losing. Guys gonna jump in the portal every year, no matter what the record is. Don't let the schedule or the previous season make you think. No, you got to walk with confidence. If I'm walking around, I live in the state of Georgia. I walk around with orange and blue on all the time. You know what people say? Oh, you still gonna rep them? What you talking about? Yeah, because we're still highly respected. Billy Napier I'm not telling him what to do, but he need to walk around with his chest out. He's saying, "Hey man, come be a part of the turnaround."
Yeah,
it's still the University of Florida at the end of the day. So yeah, it is disturbing, buddy, only because either they're not being aggressive or they letting these guys in the transfer portal dictate. If I'm talking to a kid in the portal, you ain't got no leg to stand on. I don't care until you sign, because so we'll see. You still got some guys out there. Maybe it's who they targeting. I don't know, but if a kid are jumping to the portal because it didn't work at his previous school, you ain't got no leverage coming at me.
Yeah, well said. Let me get Loren Meadows in here, but first remind folks the Florida basketball team won tonight, 70-65. Waller Stewart got 20 the first half. Then he cooled off, and East Carolina kept the pressure on all through the game. Not a particularly good offensive display by the Gator basketball team. Also, I mentioned LJ McCray. He says he's committed. That's good news there. Let's do this. Let me give a quick read here of the spot. We're going to bring Coach Meadows in here and weigh him in on the schedule, which is brutal, and on the fact that Florida has yet to get a portal commitment. Titan MRI. I want to tell you about these folks over there. Good people. They're attracting people from all over the state of Florida. It's worth a short drive to Gainesville. No insurance, no problem. You can pay with cash or card. Same-day scheduling is available. That's unusual. So you can start feeling better today because Titan MRI is North Central Florida's premier independent MRI facility. Come see why hundreds of patients are visiting our Gainesville location from Ocala, Marion County, and the villages and all over Florida. That's TitanMRI.com. Let's go see the coach. Ben, see what he's got up his sleeve tonight. People are complaining because they had no trivia here. What's the deal with that, man? No trivia, huh?
Hey, man, I said it. You got to talk to the producer, man. He got the question, so and that, maybe it wasn't part of Tuesday's programming, I guess.
I gave you a trivia question. I never got it. I never got it. But anyway, the bottom line was we had a question on Heisman. Schools, yeah. We didn't give any away prizes. See, some of these guys are used to just racking up big prizes, Ben, on getting Loren's goodies, and so they figure he's an easy touch, so they come in they want goodies, right? All right, so Loren, Ben and I talking about the fact that Florida is yet to get a portal player. By the way, Alabama hasn't either. But when you look at schools like Vanderbilt with 4 of them committed as of yesterday, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Kentucky, 4, South Carolina and Georgia, South Carolina and Ole Miss. Ole Miss has, I don't see Georgia in this lineup, by the way. I don't see his lineup. I see he didn't do Georgia. So Anyway, so that's what we got. Now, Florida doesn't have a commitment yet from a portal guy. Does that bother you, Loren?
No, it's still early. I'm not. I think a lot of things will shake out. I think that with the way that things are going with National Signing Day, and I mean they've had guys on campus, which means they're active. This past weekend was quite a few transfers. So no, I think that they'll get through National Signing Day next week, and then I think you'll really start to see once some of the bowl games shake out and things like that. I think that. I think you'll start to see a lot more activity. So right now, I'm not worried. It's still really, really early. So that's kind of where I stand on it. I'm not. I mean, they're. Am I worried because they need players? Yeah, but at the rate that they're getting or not getting commits, I'm okay with it right now. But definitely, like Ben said a little earlier. I mean, you got to go out, you got to get National Signing Day done, and then you got to go win. You got to try to get as many wins in the portal as you can.
Yeah. We're going to get anything on an uptick right now will be good. And like Ben says, you need to be able to walk around with your chest out a little bit. So we'll see. Everybody's looking for some kind of reaction and something positive to hang their hats on right now. And so that's the deal. By the way, looking at that schedule, we'll get Franz to join us here in a minute. Schedule's out. That last 5 games is brutal. It's killer, man. Can you imagine it? Think about this. Last night we did this with Doring and Edgar Thompson and I. Went through game by game consensus picks. And we're trying to figure out what's the best they could possibly be. Look at that schedule. Here's the last 5 games. Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State. And and Texas is on the road, so is Florida State. I mean, my word. And they may be, we had them up to, I can't believe this. We had them up game by game without knowing what we're going to pick, consensus picks. I guess Malta was involved in that. They were 6-1 at the first bye. 6-1. So the first half, there's some winnable games, but the back half, that's killer, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I was talking to some people last night, and you look at the schedule, and it maybe to Billy Napier's credit or to his, I guess his positive will be the fact that I think, if he can, get to 7-5, 6-6, make a bowl, I think you might see him remain, I think that would, he's still going to keep people on him, but it would back off some of the naysayers and things like that. But that schedule is going to be really tough. Now, I think if they go 6-1 to the first bye, that means that they're probably playing with a little bit more confidence than a lot of teams play with. And then that back half could get interesting where they could maybe steal, kind of like this year. They really should have stole a couple on the back end this year. Well, stole one in Missouri and then beat Arkansas. And it's a little different. So I think that, the way the team's constructed, I don't know if necessarily a lot of people, they've got some players in some positions, and I think if they plug and play, even though the schedule's brutal, I mean, those teams still got to play Florida too. So, you still got to line up and play, and, a lot can happen from now until August into, September, October, November. So
all the SEC teams got tough going. I'll give you one in a minute that's pretty tough right now. Georgia's is really bad. But let's go get a ready report from the man who's been covering basketball, and Franz Beard. And Franz had a good call today about how brutal the schedule was. We'll talk about that some too. Franz, not a whole lot of offense tonight, although his first half, Walter Stewart had plenty.
Well, here's the thing: is every good basketball team has games when they play like crap. 18 turnovers tonight, 12 missed free throws. They didn't shoot well, they didn't defend well, and they still won. And that's, a very physical game that was like a, surprising, the number of fouls that were called was only a portion of what could have been called. This game, we could still be there and everybody shooting free throws if they called it. I thought the officiating was very selective. It was, there were times when it was no body bag, no foul. I thought Carl Hess was calling the game. And then there were times when touch fouls were in vogue. But they were. The one thing I'll say is the officials were consistent. They called it that way the entire game. So it's up to teams to adapt to that. Okay, if good officiating, bad officiating, teams have to adapt. You don't blame the officials. You blame the teams for not adapting. And the Gators adapted to what was there. They got on the boards. Saved by a guy. Raymond Felton ties his hair up here and has it out here. And if he lets his hair hang loose, the ball goes out of bounds, and East Carolina has the ball, chance to tie it. The ball rolls off of his head because his hair's up here, and the ball rolls off of it, goes out of bounds. Florida gets the ball, ends up winning the ball game because of it. I gotta hand it to Tyrese Samuel. Terrific job of understanding what his job is. He sets the pick,
dig it out,
goes to the hoop, is there to get the key rebound. But this is the kind of game you're going to have to win. Every team, I don't care how good or how bad you are, you're going to have games that you've got to play through all the crap and somehow pull out a win, and that's what the Gators did tonight.
So what's the next game, Franz, real quick?
Next game is Michigan, Tuesday night in Charlotte. Michigan's not very good. They're thinking of every way possible they can to fire Juwan Howard, who's been let's face it, he's just been a real embarrassment to the university the way he's slugged people. He's had encounters with officials, got into fights with them, and now he gets into a fight with his own trainer in plain view of everybody.
Well, something's in the water in Ann Arbor between him and Harbaugh. The coaches are.
Oh, heavens, they love Harbaugh.
I know, but he's a bandit, man. He really is.
The more trouble Harbaugh gets into, the more they love him.
Yeah.
And Juwan's at this point in time where if he cuts a hangnail the wrong way, somebody's going to catch it, and they're going to want to get rid of him.
Yeah.
But he's been an embarrassment, really.
Yeah, let me switch this. Sorry, Franz. Switch this back to football for a second. And this team plays at Alabama. They play Auburn. They play at Mississippi State, at Kentucky. They play at Texas.
You must be talking about Georgia.
I'm talking about Georgia. They're crying up there, Ben, where you are about the schedule.
I mean, it's finally, right? I mean, Georgia. I mean, at the end of the day, I thought that because Georgia went back to back, thank God it's not going to be the three-peat. I couldn't do it.
You'd had to leave, so you'd had to leave the state.
Loren, Mr. Buddy, Franz, if Georgia would have went three-peat, I would have just came. I would listen. I said, listen, I'm jumping in the transfer portal from media. I can't do it anymore. I can't deal with these people. But I think that because Texas and Oklahoma have been added to the SEC, nobody can hide anymore. Like not even the Georgias, not even the Georgias of the world. And up there in Athens, man, they saying, oh, they out to get us. I'm like, who? A team that lost one game in 2 years? Sit down. Like, Georgia fans get on my nerve. At least, they are. We got to deal with them now because they did win back-to-back. And now it's, we should have won. We should have got in. No, them going to Alabama, them going to Texas. I said it. This is the last year that we're going to see an undefeated regular season SEC. When you ain't going to have no more undefeated season.
Yeah, did y'all watch the selection show, Ben? Did you watch it? Y'all watch it? Selection
I didn't want to watch it because I already kind of knew what Florida's schedule was going to look like. I was like, good.
Yeah, well, I watched it, and they put out their A team out there. Laura was out there, and they had all their top guys there. And I'm watching the schedule, thinking this is a lot of hype. But I thought to myself, you know what? This is going to be a hell of a league. I mean, you look at the schedule, Texas, Oklahoma, man, this is going to be a hell of a league, guys.
Think about
yeah,
this,
I mean,
too, guys. Think about this.
Yeah.
Carson Beck has a number 1 grade with the NFL. There are people who are saying this guy will be a top 10 pick. And I can believe it the way he threw the ball this year. I mean, he was better than I thought he ever would be.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Brock Vandegrift has transferred to Kentucky. Okay. Dylan Raiola, who for a while was ranked the number 1 high school quarterback in the country, he's about to flip. His uncle is the offensive line coach at Nebraska. His dad was a 2-time All-American center there who played 14 years in the league. I don't think this guy is going to go to the University of Georgia. I think he's going to go to Nebraska, which means that Gunnar Stockton is going to be the quarterback unless they can bag somebody in the portal. And they've already missed on the guy they really wanted in the portal, and that's Grayson McCall, who's going to North Carolina State. They may have some problems, guys.
Yeah, I can't keep up, Loren. It's going too fast for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all over the place right now. But back to your original statement, I think that, when you look at the league as a whole, like you said, it's just, I mean, you bring 2 storied programs from, one from a recruiting hotbed and then another one that has their finger right on the pulse of the recruiting hotbed. I mean, it just adds to, I mean, the league as a whole, and not just in football. I think people are going to really be open. Like Texas, their volleyball team is playing in the Final Four as we speak. Oklahoma with their dominance and some of the other sports, softball and gymnastics and things like that. I think it's just going to be a really good deal for the SEC as a whole. And kudos to Greg Sankey to really commit to not going to more than 16 teams. I think it fits geographically. It still makes sense in the big scheme of things. And I think it's going to be some fun times, 365 days a year for the SEC, for sure.
All right, let's go around the horn here. You're right, Loren. Let's go around the horn here because all the talk nationally now is what's the next shoe to fall. No pun intended. But Clemson and Florida State, someone said today, it's not just how much it costs them right now, it's how much it will cost them in the long run if they don't play in a top-notch conference because they won't have as many chances to get in the playoff. They won't get the publicity. And they're saying that, but talk about the Big Ten, but the talk is back to the SEC. Now, Franz, we know this story about Florida State. We were around 30 years ago and they turned it down. But there's a lot of talk, and, of course, they get those numbers crunched. You put Florida State and Clemson, never mind your prejudice, in the SEC and the Big Ten. I mean, those are 2 giant conferences clashing. Which way are things going to go, Ben? Do you think they'll go to the SEC?
No, I don't think Clemson. I don't think Clemson and Florida State to go to the SEC. Because, to be honest with you, I don't think Greg Sankey wants them. I think the thing about when you look at what the SEC wants, they'll want UNC, they'll want Virginia. I think they'll go for them 2 teams before they go Florida State, Clemson, because Clemson and Florida State. Clemson is the reason why Florida State didn't get in this year. Because Clemson was down, Florida State don't get in because Georgia loses to Alabama. I just think that Greg Sankey, to me, what he really wants is Notre Dame. That's who he wants. He ain't gonna get them because Notre Dame don't need no conference. But I think that the mystique behind Florida State and Clemson, it ain't what it used to be. They ain't on the uptick. I think if you ask Greg Sankey who can you get, you only get 2. He'll get Miami before he get Florida State. I think he'll get them, but I don't think the SEC won't. I think Clemson and Florida State kind of played their card the wrong way when they had leverage. When they had it, maybe they had a shot to get in, but I think Texas and Oklahoma killed anything. Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, UVA. I can see that happening. They want the university. They don't want Florida State. They don't want Clemson. Like I said, Greg Sankey is sitting back smoking a stogie right now. This dude like, man, I'm going to have the best games in the regular season there is. I'm going to put 6 teams in no matter what. And guess what? He don't got to win the Natty every year, but it's got to come through the SEC. It's going to come through the SEC. So, sorry, Clemson. Sorry, Florida State. If Florida State went undefeated, and then I was on Twitter. I shouldn't have done it. Somebody was like, oh, it's going to be the first year the SEC champ don't get in. I'm like, in what world? In what world would the SEC not get into college? You've lost your mind. And I just think if Florida could have went undefeated this year, they won't get in. Florida State went undefeated and didn't get in. That should let you know what the ACC is seeing as a whole right now, because they look for certain teams to play well. They look for North Carolina, Miami, Clemson, and because it was Florida State versus Louisville, that's not good ratings, and that don't help them as a conference. So no Florida State,
all right,
no Clemson.
Franz, you agree or disagree?
I think Greg Sankey holds at 16 teams. I think he's happy with that. I think ESPN is happy with that. And ESPN is the one that's going to write the check for $100 million a year for each SEC school. And because of that, I think Greg Sankey's very, very content with it. I think Ben is right about one thing. If the SEC decided to expand with ACC teams, it would be North Carolina and it would be Virginia. And I can tell you for one good reason why. Both of them finished top 5 in the Directors' Cup standings every single year. Second reason is this. Both of them are members of the American Association of Universities. Florida State isn't. Clemson isn't. Sankey is very, very happy that he added Texas, which is in, Oklahoma, which is about to be. Both of them big land-grant universities, okay? Carolina and Virginia, prestigious academics, great basketball. Virginia's won a national championship in several sports, including baseball recently and basketball recently. Carolina's won a slew of national championships in basketball. But here's the underlying thing about it. Why ESPN would be, if ESPN wanted it, that's who they'd go for. It gives them the North Carolina television base because you got 11 million people in the state of North Carolina. It gives you the Virginia television base. There are 11 million people in the state of Virginia. You had 22 million potential viewers by adding those two. You add Clemson, you already got South Carolina. You add Florida State, you already got Florida. You don't need them to expand the footprint. Ben, you're right about one other thing. If Notre Dame ever decided it wanted to join the SEC, they would be a member tomorrow. I mean, if they decided at mid-season in 2023-24 that they want to be in the SEC, Greg Sankey would call all the athletic directors together, reschedule the rest of the football season. Tell Notre Dame, we'll cover the cost of canceling your ball games. You come start playing now. Guarantee you.
All right. Loren, your floor.
I'm going to agree with two of the writers that I respect the most, Mr. Franz Beard and Buddy Martin, who told me that back in 1992, when Florida State had the chance to go in the SEC, they declined. They will never be a member of the SEC. And I agree with Franz and Ben. I think, Sankey stands at 16. UNC and Virginia make sense for all the reasons that were expressed. And, like Franz said, I mean, Florida State wants to act like somebody wants them. Nobody needs them. Nobody needs them at all. And I think that, it's hard when you talk to a Florida State fan, I always tell Florida State fans, a Florida fan, the last thing he says before he goes home is he turns to a Florida State fan and says, "Don't be late to work tomorrow." So, I mean, I think that's just where it is. I mean, they've got that, it just, and I can say that because I come from big time academic school in Ohio. But the point is, it's just, they want to be big time and it's just not there. Like Ben said, the playoffs were a key indicator of, they've really got a long way to go. And yeah, I think it stands at 16 for a couple years until maybe but I think with the 12 now, everybody's going to kind of simmer down and because teams will get in and things like that. And so I think it'll be a couple years, and the SEC will stay at 16 for sure.
I think they stay at 16. I think they stay at 16 permanently, simply because the scheduling works out perfectly, and ESPN picks up. Loren, you were mentioning, you pick up Oklahoma softball and gymnastics plus football. You pick up Texas baseball, Texas swimming, Texas volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Texas track.
You know, Texas track. You know, Oklahoma baseball as well. You're talking about programs, Oklahoma golf. Holy cow, Texas golf. You're talking about adding a whole lot of national championships to the overall resume of a league that's got a whole lot of national championships. You don't need to add any more. And the one who's going to determine if there is expansion, there's two people. That's whoever's the president of ESPN and whoever's and Greg Sankey. That's it. Nobody else. We can make all the speculation in the world and say, boy, wouldn't this be a great fit? Wouldn't you just love to see Clemson play Georgia every year? We can do all that all we want to, but guess what? The only one who's got to be impressed is Greg Sankey. And if Greg Sankey says we don't want it to ESPN, ESPN says fine. If ESPN says we want it to Greg Sankey, and Greg Sankey says okay, then it's a done deal.
Okay, I heard all you. You can get your comment in. I want to say one thing. I have a devil's advocate position. Go ahead, Loren.
No, I was just going to say, and what's going to be even better for the SEC this year is a lot of layman people only pay attention to sports. The SEC will be even more center stage because people pay attention to sports like gymnastics and track and field in what years? Olympic years. And 2024, Paris will host the Olympics. So you're going to see a lot of the people from Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, Georgia, different sports that'll be representing the United States in the Olympics. So I think a lot more people will tune in for that as well. So,
okay, I heard what you said, all of you. I don't disagree with what you said. You all make good points. But let me throw something out to you. What did the College Football Committee tell us by how they went on the selection of these 4 teams? It's about the ratings. That's why Florida State had no chance. They wanted the ratings, and the most. We talked about this with David Moulton, who works for CBS. They had the teams in there. Alabama is like the number 2 team. They're drawing people, So they're in the showbiz game now. They're in the showbiz game because that's what? Dollars. Dollars drive everything today, everything in football. We don't like to think that, but it's true. So I'm not making this necessarily as a point, a counterpoint, or saying it's going to happen. But what if, excuse me, the giant business claw of ESPN and the SEC reach out and say, you know what, we don't really care that much about the spring sports. They don't have revenue sports to us. What we care about is those football and maybe basketball games. And if we can get the numbers up, and we got to go get 3 or 4 more teams, including the FSU and Clemson, and we can make another $5 million or $6 million or whatever a team, do you think they'd consider it? Because money is God right now. Money's king. Everything's about money, money, money. And I'll add this, the volatility of the game right now. Look how fast things have changed. They're still changing. Who knows where we'll be a year from now? What will be the situation? So just what if that comes to play and it becomes a money situation? Real quick response from all of you. Start with Ben.
I think that's what it is right now. I mean, you just said it, buddy. You mean to tell me Florida State gonna look back in 2023? It came down to us in Washington. Y'all want to see UW? Most people don't even know that UW is on the West Coast. They think it's in D.C. They don't even know where UW is. I'm just telling you, if somebody said, hey, man, 2023, Washington is undefeated, Florida State is undefeated, Florida State is in the breeding ground of college football, we're going to go with UW. Really? So it's always going to be about money. And money comes with eyeballs. They said, hey, man, who watched the Pac-12 championship? A lot of people. Who watched the ACC championship? Not a lot. So yeah, I mean, Greg Sankey gonna hear these phone calls, but at the end of the day, the only thing gonna get you in is the only thing that's always been there. You got to have leverage. Florida State ain't got no leverage. They ain't got none.
No.
Them boys came back to go undefeated. They went undefeated, and they get the. And guess what? Their consolation prize is they finna get the hell beat out of them by Georgia. It is going to be ugly. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, when it comes to this money aspect of things, it is going to be like that. But you got to have that appeal. And I'm sorry, if 13-0 ain't enough appeal, what is? If undefeated ain't enough to get you there, what is? So, Clemson maybe because people because they got a villain, I mean, known as Dabo. I mean, like it or love it, people just want to either see him win or lose. He's got that about him. But the thing about the ACC, I think the schools they want to be good ain't good. Teams want Miami and North Carolina to be good, and they're not. So I think that's gonna hurt. I think it's gonna hurt them Florida State Clemsons of the world.
All right, let's hear from Loren. Loren.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's money makes you do a lot of silly things. Money makes you sometimes buckle up and do the right thing. I mean, I think that it's yet to be seen, and I think that with the 12-team playoff and what the aftermath of the very first 12-team playoff will be, I think could change the landscape. And like I said, because I think sometimes things grow and they become exponentially greater than we thought they would become. And I think that's what could happen with this 12-team playoff, particularly if I don't see a 12 beating a 1, but I could see a 9 beating a 3 or whatever. And then this thing really starts to get kind of a March Madness kind of feel to it. And I think that would really increase the popularity, which would bring more financial gain. So it's yet to be seen.
All right, Franz, bring us home. Wrap it up.
Well, here's the thing. I'll throw something that Loren just threw in there. You're going to have 4 teams that get a bye in the 12-team playoff. I could see a 12 beating a 5. A lot faster than I could see a 12 beating a 1. I could see a 12 beating a 5, which would be incredible for ratings. I could see an 11 beating a 6, which would be incredible for ratings. I'll tell you one thing. Watch the Cotton Bowl. Liberty and Oregon are going to draw through the roof this year in the Cotton Bowl. And the reason they're going to draw is because everybody wants, this is going to be Jack and the Beanstalk, Jack the Giant Slayer, and Liberty is better than people want to give them credit for. That kid they got at quarterback, Caden Salter, he could quarterback most of the teams in the SEC very, very well. He's that good. So it's going to be good. So you could see that. The ratings drive it, guys. And it's all, and this is why, like I said, ESPN balked this year because they're the ones that really implored the SEC to stay at 8 games. That's something I've learned about. Was ESPN wanted another year before they go to 9 games because they got to generate TV crews. It's going to be very, very costly for them. You get that ninth game, the extra conference game. You can't go throwing Beth Mowins at an SEC at a conference game of the SEC. You can bring Beth Mowins to be the play-by-play when they're playing Western Walla Walla Junior College or a homeless shelter, but you cannot bring her in and have her with that nasally fingernails down the chalkboard voice calling an SEC game. ESPN wants it at 16. They like that. They've got the crews for it going to be set up in 2025. That's going to be the year. And I just, buddy, FSU, 1992, they had their shot. They had their shot again, 2001. They didn't do it. They screwed themselves. And here's the other thing. FSU is now talking about, well, the Big Ten will want us. The Big Ten wants Miami. Why? Miami's a member of the American Association of Universities. FSU, in their dreams, You know, can I have fry? Can you upsize the fries on that, please?
All right, guys. Good stuff.
Need some paper towels in the bathroom, sir. Nice FSU sweater.
You better be at work tomorrow.
What do all of us Florida people have in common with FSU? Every damn one of us got accepted at FSU.
Oh boy, we're starting to hit low now. Oh my gosh! All right, guys.
Oh, I got a whole bunch of FSU jokes.
We'll save them for next time. We're over by 15
Going
minutes.
Extra 10 minutes. I could keep rolling in the aisles. You know.
We'll catch up to you next week. By the way, we'll be on mobile in the studio next week. We'll be at an undetermined site to be named starting next week. Doing the show from there. We'll be talking to you there, and Brendan will be holding down Studio 12 here in Ocala. And
what is that, guys?
What's what?
What see that up there?
Know.
That's a monogrammed FSU handkerchief.
Okay, Franz is starting his jokes. All right.
You see that?
Oh.
What does it say? I can't see it.
It says Raiders beating the Chargers 42-0 in the first half.
Oh my goodness!
But probably because Will Harris isn't there.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Let's wait a minute.
The safeties to hey, you're allowed to knock down that ball when it is in the air, boys.
What? Hey, can we do a review on that Will Harris deal before we go there? Yeah. Let's think about that for a minute. All right, guys. I love you all. Great job tonight, and appreciate you. All right. Take care, Franz and Loren. Talk to you guys. All right, folks. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks for watching. We're going to go out with our reminding you that guys like Franz Beard can be read online. I encourage you to look at GatorBaitMedia.com. Some of the best writing around, despite the fact that let me write a column, I drag them down. But really good stuff, and we've been consistent over the last 5 years. We got some exciting plans in the future. We hope you'll come aboard. Go to GatorBaitMedia.com. Look at the rates. Look what you can get. Sign up today and support this family business we got. Brendan Martin doing a great job there. So remind you of that. And by the way, always remember to hit the subscribe button when you were on this channel. Sign up with us like so many of you have. Thank you. We had tremendous numbers the last 3 or 4 months, so we appreciate that. We appreciate our guests tonight, Franz and Ben and Loren, and we also appreciate our sponsors, of course, Meldon Law and Titan MRI, and this one been with us a long time, Red Star Medical Research. We thank those people over there. They're such good citizens here in Ocala. They have a terrific patient-centered clinical research facility right here in Ocala. They have cutting-edge clinical research trials here for Alzheimer's and psoriasis, osteoarthritis, migraines, fibromyalgia, many other things that affect us in our community right here. And they're having these research trials, and they invite you to participate in them because they like to get your DNA so we know more about the people around us, and they can better treat you, and they can also send that information to their partners with pharmaceutical companies and biomedical companies throughout the medical industry. If you'd like to be a part of one of these trials, go to WinStar.net, look at the details. You might be eligible to be compensated for time and travel. So, Red Star Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We hope to be with Urban tomorrow. We'll bring that to you, and then we'll be off to the wild blue yonder with things for the future. It's all going to be good. It's all going to be right here on this program. Have a good night, folks.